I prostrate to Sri Gurudev Swami Chinmaya, the water from whose feet is extremely purifying. I sprinkle this on my head and body and drink it so that it extinguishes the fire of my countless sins. Sri Swami Chinmaya, a great saint, wise, a well-wisher to all, extremely courageous, large-hearted, and with endless compassion, came to my city like a refreshing spring breeze. When I heard the news of his arrival, the hairs on my body stood up on end. My mind was overjoyed, and I spoke these auspicious words. Om Shri Swami Chinmaya is my Guru. I will go see him. The sight of him will be the greatest gain for my eyes. Happily, I went to Gurudev's ashram, but after some time, I grew tired. Due to impatience, temptation, and carelessness, I left the right path and committed a mistake. I entered into a large, dark forest that was very dense, and I got lost. Afflicted by intolerable conditions such as extremely cold blasts of wind, hard ground, hunger and thirst, my limbs grew weak, my mind got confused and filled with fear. Doubt and sorrow came to my mind, and I was overwhelmed with calamities and self-pity in the following way. I am confused as to what is right, filled with self-pity and miserable. Will Sri Gurudev be compassionate to me, who is devoid of all rituals of purification, extremely indulgent, have never inquired into the self nor practiced yoga, am an orphan, never worshipped God or chanted the name of Sri Ram, and have never done Gayatri Mantra or served my Guru? Thinking thus, I slumped on the ground with my chin on my knees and my head in my hands, unable to move because of the weight of my sorrows. Seeing my plight, the Supreme Lord, who is compassionate to the distressed, melted. He showered his love and kindness and gave me strength and wisdom. And then I thought, Gurudev's grace is of immeasurable strength and purifying. It can destroy the very root of all sins committed in endless lifetimes. Just as it is the law that the sun must illumine all objects in front of it, so too he who is an ocean of compassion must surely grant me his love. He who has a great memory will recognize me immediately. He who loves to laugh will certainly smile when he sees me. He whose character is forgiveness and is extremely detached will surely forgive me, and he who has many devotees will surely accept me as his own. He whose speech is the purifying words of the Bhagavad Gita, Puranas, and Upanishads that destroy ignorance. He whose side glance is filled with affection that fills our heart with love and destroys sorrow. He whose affectionate pat on the back is the greatest blessing and removes pains of the body. He whose soft, pinkish lotus feet that give happiness are seated in the hearts of all devotees and disciples. He whose feet are served by the great Swami Tejomaya, just like the most outstanding Bharata served Lord Sri Ram. I will meet Gurudev, who is an embodiment of auspiciousness, and I will see his feet, which are a manifestation of supreme bliss and fulfillment. In this way, having auspicious thoughts, the forest of my sorrows and delusions was burnt, and the banyan tree of unswerving faith was planted, and leaves of devotion sprouted. With gratitude, I bowed to the infinite Lord who had inspired these thoughts, and filled with enthusiasm, I immediately got up from the ground. Happily chanting, Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurudeva, I went to the ashram. My mind drowned in devotion and overjoyed, I reached Sandipani Sadhanalaya, Gurudev's ashram. The ashram was bathed in beautiful golden rays of sun, and the ground was entirely covered in soft green grass. The trees were laden with flowers, fruit, and fresh tender sprouts, and there was a soft, fragrant, pleasant breeze. There were flowers of pink, yellow, and white colors, and birds sang and bees hummed. I came to the Jagadishvara temple and saw Lord Shiva, who was beautiful from head to toe. Seated in lotus position, graceful with a peaceful countenance that enraptured the eyes, I bowed my head to him who was smeared with holy ash, the giver of auspiciousness, with the blue throat and moon resting on his head. I fully circled around he who has a snake around his chest, and drank the nectar-like water of he who has Gangaji resting on his head. I earnestly requested Lord Shiva, who was easy to appease. Hey Shankara, you are an abode of compassion. Please give me your blessing so that Sri Gurudev will accept me as his own servant. After that, I went to the statue of Sri Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, who is an embodiment of renunciation and a treasure house of austerity and virtues. I gazed upon his captivating lotus face, which bathed me in rays of his compassionate glance. Having prostrated, a thought came to me. Where in the ashram will I find Sri Gurudev? While going along a dirt path, I saw the footprints of Sri Gurudev, which were of endless beauty. I bathed my head and limbs in this dust, and on contact with my body, my heart overflowed with unsurpassed joy. I shouted, Om Shri Chinmaya, Lord of all enlightened masters, and bowed my head on this blessed soil of the ground. My mind was absorbed in the remembrance of Sri Gurudev, and after some time, I awoke pleasantly like the blossoming of a fresh lotus. I wandered here and there in the ashram, looking in all directions, and eventually found a garden. There, at the base of a huge banyan tree, I saw a large crowd sitting, thoroughly enthralled. Toddlers, children, youth, disciples, men and women were all staring and listening, completely captivated. In the middle of this crowd was Sri Gurudev, the beloved of all and well known throughout the world, an embodiment of majesty and supreme peace, Brahman itself, the best amongst gurus and a realized master. This king of sages was shining with the effulgence of Brahman. His splendor surpassed that of Lord Indra. Orange silken robes gently flowed from his body, which was as tall as the Himalayas. He had a long white beard, beautiful eyes, and a smile that was filled with love that could liberate one from bondage. Hiding behind a tree at a short distance, I watched Gurudev, my master. Sometimes he was inspiring youth, sometimes teaching the Gita of Sri Krishna, sometimes laughing and playing with the children, and sometimes consoling the grief-stricken by holding their hand. Suddenly, he saw me. He dropped everything and ran to me without wearing even his shoes. He ran over the hard ground with his soft feet and called out my name with his sweet voice. My heart melted on seeing this, and it overflowed with devotion. I laid on the ground, prostrated to his feet, and lovingly sung this hymn with hands folded in a position of prayer. O one of sweet disposition, immeasurable glory, you hold the Vedas on your beautiful lips. I have been wandering around, lost in this world with a big ego, and I never worshipped the Lord Sri Hari. But when your nectar-like words were drunk by the cups of my ears, this ignorance of my heart was destroyed. You are the Lord of my life, and have entered my heart, which is now filled with complete devotion and supreme bliss. You are the best boat for passengers who are bound in this world to cross over the ocean of fear and change. When I think of all you have done, tears of devotion fill my eyes. O one who inspires, teacher of the Gita, granter of boons, I have no other desire. May I ever drink the nectar-like pollen of devotion from your lotus feet, just as bees drink honey. When I was a child, your lotus hand touched my head and blessed me, but I did not know. Out of pure compassion, you planted the auspicious seeds of spirituality in the soil of my heart, which is now grown into the tree of dispassion. I have come from the wild forest of this world, which is punisher to all, and now grasp your lotus feet, which are the refuge for all devotees. You are the love of my life. You have stolen my heart. Please forgive me, who is a sinner, and never leave me. Gurudev lifted me up with great love, and with his long arms brought me close to his chest and embraced me. In this embrace, my intellect, mind, memory, and sense of individuality were all lost in absorption. My heart overflowed with no bounds with the incomparable nectar of supreme bliss. With extremely sweet, soft, and loving words, he said, "You are my child, and I love you very much." Even Saraswati Devi could not describe that beautiful moment, which felt like eons. I prostrated, and my eyes filled with tears. I washed his feet with these tears of devotion. Gurudev wiped my face with his soft hands and took my hand and seated me in front of him. I drank in the nectar-like form of his feet with the cups of my eyes and placed them in my heart. I meditated deeply upon this most auspicious form. Gurudev showered his grace upon me, which destroys all desires, and my mind was drowned in the unfathomable sweet ocean of the bliss of Brahman. My prostrations to Sadguru Sri Swami Chinmayanandaji.
Tasmad yudhyasva Bharata. Therefore, Bharata, Arjuna, yudhyasva, fight. That doesn't mean that this book is only asking all of us to fight with each other. Why Krishna has said, fight. No. Fight means fight your battle of life. Always optimistic, self-confident, with faith in yourself. Meet your challenges. Never be frightened of anything in the world. I will die. How can you die? The body will die. No doubt. Anyway, it is going to die. But the Atman, the self, will never die. Similarly, all these people, you are thinking that I will be destroying my cousins. No! Even if you are not going to destroy, it will die itself. So you are not killing them for murder, you are killing for an ideal that you are living. Tasma, therefore, yudhyasva Bharata, one of the arguments. Till now the argument is on the basis of the highest reality. That is permanent, these are impermanent. That pervades all impermanent things. The impermanent can never be, never exist. The permanent can never be destroyed. The combination of the permanent and the impermanent are all of you. And you create my environments or situations for me. Face them! Don't get cowed down. There is no need to be afraid of the world outside. Act as you have been called upon in the society, as your duty. You are an army man. Your duty is to defend the country and work for the ideals that the community stands for. Fight it out. Don't say that my cousins are standing there. How am I to kill them? They are my gurus. No, you're not killing them. Because it cannot be killed. With this higher ideal in value, look at the world outside. When I wake up from my dream, should I send a check to my poor wife? Suffering there in the dream, we were suffering. My wife and 3 children. And now that when I woke up, I find that I have got a lot of bank balance. So let me send a $20. Let her, poor thing. No! They are unreal. See? The unreal can never be permanent. The real can never be impermanent. Change, it is ever there. With this understanding, then what am I to do? Face the situation courageously. And Once you have no fear to death, fear of death, you are irresistible. All of us are cowed down only because we are afraid. Security, security. Security of what? For this mass of flesh, which has to die one day or the other. Live up to your ideals. Fight it out, Arjuna. Tasmad yudhyasva bharata.
Hari Om. I was asked to speak today on how Gurudev has guided and helped me through the bumps of life. And as I reflected on this, I thought back to my time as a youth, and that I always had this desire to have met Gurudev, to have had him physically in my life, because then maybe if I had him physically in my life, things would just work out and be easier, and I'd have someone to hold my hand and guide me through all the difficulties that I was facing. But what I've realized and what I've learned is that the power of Gurudev is actually that you don't need his physical presence to know that he's there, to know that he's guiding you and holding your hand through the ups and downs of life. And that is the one thing I've learned to never underestimate, that Gurudev is there, and when he looks after you and you trust in him, then he sends you his devotees who guide you to him and use his voice to help you through the bumps. And so for me, as much as I haven't physically met Gurudev, I feel blessed to have Gurudev guide me to Guruji and Puja Swamiji, who have made sure that I have never felt that I've been missing something, and have constantly reminded me of Gurudev's role in my life, who every step of the way as his devotees guide me back to him, guide me back to his messaging and his powerful words. And it still amazes me to this day, even though I know, it just amazes me how Gurudev works in ways that we can't always see until they've actually happened to us. The way he brings people into our lives, and even out for that matter when it's the right time. And I think when those bumps have come, I think the biggest way Gurudev has guided me is to learn to have faith and to learn to trust. And that has come through him leading me to Guruji and Puja Swamiji and their guidance, but also their stories of Gurudev, where you feel like you're there. You feel like you were there when Gurudev told a joke or made a comment about, you can lift yourself by yourself. And when I used to hear that, you can lift yourself by yourself, I thought, no, you can't. I don't have the skill to do that. But now when I look back on that quote, it's not, you're never by yourself. I'm never alone. Gurudev is walking this path with me as much as I am walking this path. And the one thing that has helped me through even the hardest of times is the trust that Gurudev has my back. every step of the way, even when I think I am all alone, I am never actually alone, ever. And you know, you think, how amazing is Gurudev? That even though he is physically not in our presence, he can still remind us that he's there. He opens up a world of possibilities. He shows you the strength you have within yourself. And he reminds you every time you create the doubt that you are alone. Gurudev finds ways to remind you you are not. Whether it's a quote through the Chinmaya Mission Melbourne Facebook page, or through a lecture that Guruji or Puja Swamiji are doing, or even when you're talking to one of your fellow devotees from the mission about introspection or emotions, you realize that Gurudev has a plan. He has a plan for you, and it's the little things that you look back and realize were what got you through the hard times. It was the devotee that he guided to you when you needed them. It was the times that Gurudev spoke through someone else, but it was his words. It was the voice of Gurudev bouncing through your speakers on your phone, reminding you that you are never alone and that you can do this. And you know, often I looked for the big things, those big reminders that Gurudev was there. But it's not the big things in which he shows you that he is helping you. It is those little reminders. It is those little reminders that build the faith and the trust to know that he is ever by your side. Through words, through song, even through his picture. He is ever present. In the picture I have at my altar, when I look at that through my meditation, it is as if Gurudev smiles back at me. Because in whatever way, he is showing that he is there. And it's these things that remind me, in the ups and in the downs, that Gurudev has my back. He is holding my hand and guiding me. And sometimes it's just as simple as seeing his face. Sometimes it's through the words of Guruji and Puja Swamiji. Sometimes it's through the laughter of my fellow devotees as we listen to a story told about Gurudev. Sometimes it's through a quote or through puja. But in whatever way Gurudev shows himself, there are moments in time to remind me and to remind all devotees that his physical presence is not where the power is. It's in the way he's made himself part of our hearts. And through every step that he has brought me on to remind me of this, It is Gurudev in my heart that guides me through any difficult situation I face. Because I never feel alone. And I feel blessed and grateful that I have learned how powerful our Gurudev is. That he is beyond anything my mind could even conceive. And I thank Gurudev every day for showing me that he wants a place in my heart. And so who am I to say no? My gratitude to Gurudev always for bringing me on a path that allows me to be surrounded in the love of my Guru.
Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Parama Pavitra Sachidananda Parama Pavitra Sachidananda Palita Sadguru Chinmayananda Palita Sadguru Chinmayananda Parama Pavitra Sachidananda Palita Sadguru Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Parama Purusha Hari Sachidananda Parama Purusha Hari Sachidananda Purushottama Shri Chinmayananda Purushottama Shri Chinmayananda Parama Purusha Hari Sachidananda Purushottama Shri Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Parama Pavitra Sachidananda Palita Sadguru Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Parama Purusha Hari Sachidananda Purushottama Shri Chinmayananda Ananda Sadananda Sachidananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda Ashrita Palana Chinmayananda
Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om all. On the occasion of August the 3rd, which we call Pujya Gurudev's Mahasamadhi, this means the day that a realized, enlightened master has finished his work on the worldly plane and now merges back with the infinite. Such a day is not a day of celebration, but it becomes a day of commemoration, a day of remembrance, and a day to pay our respects and homage to our great Pujya Gurudev, who because of his life, his love, and his seva to the world, we generations later are still benefiting. When I think of Gurudev, actually each morning I have a chance to come down to this altar, and every day I do Pujya Gurudev's Aarti. And every day I keep thinking there are two verses that are composed by Pujya Guruji. And those two verses I recite every day. And they are Aneka Janma Jita Punya Praptaha Maya Gururyo Jagati Prasiddhaha Yasya Prasadena Mana Prashantam Babhuvametam Shirasa Namami Kritagnyataya Chardi Stita Me Vaktunna Shakya Kaluyatnatopi Guru Prasida Krupaya Videhi Tvatpada Bhaktim Paramanuraktim Tvatpada Bhaktim Paramanuraktim. These two verses, Guruji has composed such a delightful and beautiful sentiment about Pujya Gurudev. Aneka Janma Jita Punya Praptaha Guruhu. Our Guru, Pujya Gurudev, Jagat Prasiddha, who is well known in this world, which means he brought so much delight, so much purity, so many blessings to this world, became Jagat Prasiddha. This Guru, our Guru Gurudev, is Aneka Janma Jita Punya Praptaha. I have managed to have his company. I have managed to have his darshan. I have managed to come in contact with him because of Aneka Janma Jita Punya Praptaha. Aneka Janma, millions of lives, Jita Punya, because of the punyam that I have done over millions of lives. Because that punyam, it is now fructified in the form of my coming to have contact with Pujya Gurudev in some way, whether it's through his books, whether it's through the classes, whether it's just through the mission or missionacharyas. We have all in some way connected with Pujya Gurudev, and Gurudev has reached out to us. And when I think of this, then I think what a fortunate birth we have. How blessed we are to have this birth where Bhagavan himself has taken all our punyas and he has made them manifest in the form of meeting our Guru. So we are so blessed here and now to be able to have access to Gurudev's teachings, to the mission, to benefit from his seva. And how do we feel, or how do we know that Gurudev is our Guru? Yasya prasadena mana prashantam. What a beautiful line. How to recognize your Guru. Yasya prasadena, by whose grace, Mana prashantam. My mind became peaceful. My mind became calm. That Guru, that Mahatma, because of whose grace your mind becomes calm, in whose presence your mind becomes calm, because of whose words your mind becomes calm, because of whose remembrance your mind becomes calm. That Mahatma is your Guru. Babhuva metam shirasa namami. I do namaskar. With my head I prostrate to that Guru. Having been blessed and benefited just by the meeting of the Guru, by the knowledge of the Guru, by the seva of the Guru, by the love and compassion of our Puja Gurudev, then Kritagnyataya Chahrade me, my heart becomes so filled with gratitude. Kritagnyata, gratitude. So much gratitude, Vaktun Shakyo Kalu Yadnatopi. I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to express that gratitude. I don't know what to do. Because I feel so immensely grateful for everything that He has done for me. Guru Prasida Kripaya Videhi. O Gurudev, please be gracious upon me. Tvatpada Bhaktim Padamanurhaktim. And please give me, Dehi me, give me Tvatpada Bhaktim Paramanurhaktim. Tvatpada, to your feet. Param Anuraktim Parama Bhakti. Give me supreme devotion to your feet. This is my request. This is what I ask of you. I want nothing else. Just give me devotion that is supreme, that is nischala, unwavering. Please give me that to your feet, because I know when I have that, there will be no obstacles in my life. There will be no challenge that I won't be able to meet. I won't be scared of. There will be no challenges that will cause me to become dispirited. With devotion to you, I know I will have the strength to do anything. These two verses I chant every day. And they have given me extreme strength, power, devotion, and lots of gratitude. Our heart becomes filled with gratitude that each and every day when I come down here into our ashram in 4 Pioneer Drive, many times I think I've been living here now for 16 years. And this 4 Pioneer Drive is called Chinmaya Dham. And it's not just another one of our Chinmaya Mission centers. Because in this 4 Pioneer Drive, our Puja Gurudev himself stayed. He lived here. He spent time, he dwelled in this abode. And in fact, where the Padukas are in our ashram, right here, and where Gurudev's picture is, that many years ago, possibly 30 years ago, Gurudev himself sat here and the devotees did Pada Puja to Gurudev. Not Paduka Puja, Pada Puja. They worshipped and did puja to his feet. Right in this place. So I feel that this Chinmaya Dham really is a Chinmaya Dham, abode of Gurudev. We know Mahatmas are not ordinary people. They are Brahman manifest. And that Brahman, when it manifests, then its power, its divinity, its bliss, its love becomes almost trapped and pervades that space. It's embedded in that space. And many times I think I'm so fortunate that I get to stay in this place where Gurudev's vibration, Gurudev's love is embedded in the very floor walls of this abode. In this way, we can look at our own lives and see how Gurudev has touched us. How we are able to continuously connect with Gurudev, whether through his words, his videos, his audios, his books, whether through compositions written by his devotees, disciples. In so many different ways we can still connect with Gurudev. Gurudev is still alive and he can still bless us. Yasya prasadena mana prashantam, because of whose grace my mind becomes calm. So on this Mahasamadhi, let us reflect on our lives and how blessed we have become because we have come in contact with life, work and love of Puja Gurudev. With this message, live today in a day of remembrance of Puja Gurudev, chanting his name. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. 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 Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
गुरु मात्र पिता गुरु बंधु सगा तेरे चरणों में स्वामी मेरे कोटि प्रणाम गुरु मात्र पिता गुरु बंधु सगा तेरे चरणों में स्वामी मेरे कोटि प्रणाम तुम्ही भक्ति हो तुम्ही शक्ति हो तुम्ही मुक्ति हो मेरे सांब शिवा तुम्ही भक्ति हो तुम्ही शक्ति हो तुम्ही मुक्ति हो मेरे सांब शिवा गुरु मात्र पिता गुरु बंधु सगा तेरे चरणों में स्वामी मेरे कोटि प्रणाम तुम्ही प्रेरणा तुम्ही साधना तुम्ही आराधना मेरे सांब शिवा तुम्ही प्रेरणा तुम्ही साधना तुम्ही आराधना मेरे सांब शिवा गुरु मात्र पिता गुरु बंधु सगा तेरे चरणों में स्वामी कोटि प्रणाम। तुम्ही प्रेम हो, तुम्ही करुणा हो, तुम्ही मोक्ष हो, मेरे सांब शिवा। तुम्ही प्रेम हो, तुम्ही करुणा हो, तुम्ही मोक्ष हो, मेरे सांब शिवा। गुरु मात्र पिता, गुरु बंधु सगा, तेरे चरणों में स्वामी मेरे कोटि प्रणाम।
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
First of all, I'm delighted to announce, with Swamiji's blessings, the launch for the International Gita Chanting Competition 2020 in Melbourne. For any more information, you can refer to the slides here, go to the Chinmaya Mission Melbourne website under the events page, or contact Priya Condor, and her number is on the slides. And next, coming up very soon on August the 11th, we have Krishna Janmashtami. This year will be a unique, lockdown-friendly celebration for the whole family to enjoy on Chinmaya Channel Melbourne YouTube, live from 8 p.m. Hari Om, and thank you for joining us for the first part of 2020's Gurudev Mahasamadhi. First part, you say? That's right. For this year's Gurudev Mahasamadhi, we will be joining with our global Chinmaya Mission family for the Gurudev Mahasamadhi Puja with Chinmaya Mission West tomorrow, August 4th from 10:30 a.m. AEST, aka Melbourne time. Hoping you can join us and imbibe the atmosphere of devotion towards Sri Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda at tomorrow's puja. Hari Om.